In today's video, we're going to be having a conversation about what's been going on in the market for both Scarlet and Violet as well as Crown Zenith, and talk about some of my price targets that I predicted a month or so ago. But before we jump into it, as always, we do weekly giveaways, and today is the day in which we announce the winners. So drum roll for our 3 winners. All you had to do to enter was leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We post pre-recorded content for you to do so each and every week. But without further delay, the 3 winners are, for That Thin Line, Alex Maldonado, and then Matt Wendling. Shout out to you 3. If you want to claim your prizes, link down in the description below. Click on our Discord and then message me privately there. I will try and get your packs sent out to you as quickly as possible. But I am super busy, so if it's not within immediately, I'll try and get it within the next week or so. But outside of that, we also have a Patreon. We have, I think, 1 spot that actually just recently opened up, so I highly recommend you check it out for our wholesale access tier, which gives you the opportunity to purchase not just Pokemon, but other miscellaneous products such as Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic at wholesale prices. So if you haven't already done so, I highly recommend you check it out. Link for that is also down in the description below. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's jump into the topic, ladies and gentlemen. So, couple of things. I want to actually touch on Crown Zenith first, and then we will go to Scarlet and Violet. So, I want to say about, I said a month ago, but that was more or less for Scarlet and Violet. Crown Zenith. A couple months ago, I made price predictions on what I thought some of the cards were going to hit, one of which was for the Giratina, the other one being the Mewtwo V-Star. So for those of you guys that remember what my price prediction was for Giratina, I said it was going to be below $100. People, I don't know why, but they thought I was crazy to think that it was going to go sub $100. And it made sense to me just based on the fact of the matter that, hey, there's going to be a continuous wave of miscellaneous product for Crown Zenith that is going to continue to come out. And as more and more of that is going to be released, then that's going to drop the prices, right? Most recently, we're going to be having the Pink Collection. We're going to be having the Morpeko V Union boxes. And we still have about another month until we get our Zacian and Zamazenta premium collection boxes. So still quite a bit of Crown Zenith product that's just being pushed out into the market. And so my price prediction was sub $100. I made this back when the set first came out, when it was at around the 174, 175. I said that slightly above or hovering around that $100 price point is kind of what I was predicting. If it went below that, it would not surprise me, because typically it ends up going usually lower than I anticipated. So, and taking a look at just where we are right now with the current price, it is roughly around, if we're just going off of the verified sellers, it is around the $108 price point. But if it's just the lowest listed, it is $105. So the product hasn't even hit the shelves yet, if I'm correct. I could be wrong on this. For the new Crown Zenith product that is going to be released over the next week. And more than likely, that is going to lead to this actually correcting farther than anticipated. So we overshot my expectations, which I'm happy about. But really, once again, goes to show you the power of putting out product in the market and what that does to the overall prices for the Giratina. So it's just a continuation downward. And so my next honest to God target for this, I feel like 90 is being conservative, but we're going to say 90. We're going to say $90 is kind of what I'm thinking this is going to hit. So I'm going to bump that down around $10, $15 lower than first discussed. And it just makes the most sense because there's still another month outside of this week. And this week is going to change the price quite drastically. And by drastically, I'm presuming it's going to be at least a 10% dip. But outside of that, the other card that we were taking a look at was the Mewtwo V-Star, which I said $75 was my predicted price total. Where is it currently sitting right now? It is sitting almost perfectly at $75, but it's gonna go lower than anticipated once again. So we should expect this probably to hit the mid to high 60s is what I'm going to presume is going to happen for the Mewtwo V-Star. And these were the 2 we looked at more specifically just based on the fact that They were the top 2 cards at the time. They're still the top 2 cards at the time. You can make a general prediction that the majority of these cards, outside of the ones that are more than likely competitively viable, are going to just continue to retrace at this point. So examples of competitively viable variations, Raikou V. So this card has started to become extremely prevalent in the meta, most recently with the introduction of a bunch of new electric type cards that are going to make this extremely good. Synergizes really good with Regieleki. And so the price of this card most recently has actually been going up. So that's where you kind of find those outliers more or less in the market. Wow, the chart is still not representative of the market price. But regardless, this one I don't expect to be dropping nearly as much. It'll probably still drop maybe, or maybe it'll go sideways. But this is one of those competitively viable cards that I'm going to say probably not going to get affected nearly as much as the majority of the other cards, which is important to have a conversation about because competitively viable cards are starting to just kind of pop up more and more. Speaking of which, moving on from Crown Zenith, talking about price predictions, Scarlet and Violet. Let's talk about what's going on with the meta in Scarlet and Violet. So I had a lot of people talk to me and they were like, Eli, what are your thoughts on Scarlet and Violet with the pull rates? I said, I haven't opened up the packs, so it's hard for me to exactly say what my general thoughts are without having opened the product. Well, I did it. We did a break on Friday. I opened up around 300 packs, and here's what I would say. For me personally, it was very hot at the beginning, and then it started to kind of cool down near the end. And with that, we pulled a grand total of 3 special illustration rares, or I like to just say alternate arts because that's what we've always historically called them. And if you say that 3 out of 100, that would be, 3 out of 300, that's 1 per 100. I don't know if I would say that's an insane pull rate, right? I mean, typically speaking, the standard going rate for the Sword and Shield era is roughly around 2 to 3 booster boxes, so that kind of lines up just about right with everything. Outside of that, my most commonly pulled card that I personally got was the Gardevoir EX. I pulled the crap ton out of this full art variation. And then in terms of the actual special illustration rares for the trainer cards, I didn't pull a single one. So I don't know if I had bad luck. And then we pulled a Terrestrialized Pokemon. We pulled 1 of them out of 300. So yeah, I don't know, man. People are saying that the pull rates are insane, that they're gonna cause the prices to drop. That's what the rumors have been going around, but I can't say that I've seen a significant real difference, right? Ironically enough, we pulled the Gardevoir EX within the first 12 packs, and then it was like, yeah, these are busted. But then by the end of it, it was like, all right, it's been 150 packs and we still haven't pulled one. So what's going on? So I would like to refrain from saying that just based on my own personal anecdotal experience and from what the data that seems to be collected. I feel like it's once again on a case-by-case basis on what people have been personally experiencing. With all this being said, talking about that and looking at what's been going on in the market, it seems as if the cards more or less have found their bottom. So taking a look at the most expensive card, last time we looked at it, it was around Miriam, $75. What is the current price point? It is $78. I mean, if we're talking about just once again going at the first, gold star seller, it has actually gone up about $5, which is quite interesting to see. Not really that surprising. Miriam, I think, is going to be the next waifu of the Scarlet and Violet generation. Wouldn't surprise me if they made a premium collection of her or a milk collection of her. She just seems like the type of character they're going to kind of center around that. Gardevoir EX, also a card that seems to be flatlining and going up slightly. However, I think that you can interpret this either one of 2 ways. You can either say that, hey, we found the bottom for it, or you can interpret it as Gardevoir is one of the sets that, or one of the lines of sets that is going to absolutely dominate the meta, right? When talking about Gardevoir as well as the Miraidon, these 2 specific cards are going to drastically change the meta for competitive cards, and so their values might actually end up sustaining a lot better. I could be 100% wrong on this, right? I could be completely off base on how much of effect you really put weight on competitively viable cards that are in the special illustration variation, right, versus the standard cards, because a lot of the times it's the standard variations that are worth a couple pennies that end up skyrocketing to like $1 plus that, you know, are a lot more volatile. But I would like to believe that, you know, sure, it's not like this is going to go from $45 or $50 to $300, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't still hold its value while we're getting more supply in the market for just most of the general Scarlet and Violet products. So you're going to see these two cards potentially, you know, go a different direction than what the market is doing. And we can take a look at the Gyarados and see if that's indicative of it to be true. I mean, this card actually is most recently rebounded. I mean, quite heavily. If you guys remember, the price dipped one day, and we can say this is market manipulation. If you want to write it off as market manipulation, you can, but then that just basically says that the price hasn't dropped really at all since the release. So I don't know, maybe you look at the Cordon EX, see if that is showing us anything. I mean, this is definitely not a competitively viable card, and it's flatlining, so I don't know, or it's not a competitively viable card to my knowledge at this moment in time. It might change, but Scarlet and Violet product, I mean, it looks like they've kind of found their bottoms. And in terms of general product, we've got Build and Battles releasing this week for Scarlet and Violet, and we've got Build and Battle Stadiums releasing this week for Scarlet and Violet. So that, I feel like, could potentially lead to price corrections in these cards, because that is going to be more product regardless of whether it's booster boxes or not. It's going to be more packs flowing onto the market. So I'd like to believe that is going to lead to more of a price correction, but who knows, man? I mean, Scarlet and Violet product, for the most part, has been holding up, right? Other than the volatile cards such as the Miraidon, which this was an extremely volatile card because people looked at this and said, wow, this card is extremely competitively viable. Let's price it at $30. And then they were like, maybe not $30, maybe $7. So, which it wouldn't surprise me if this card actually shot back up to around $10, $15. Maybe shot back up isn't the right word, but it went up more just because this card is an extremely good card competitively. As well as the Gardevoir EX. Gardevoir EX is taking quite a bit of a dive too, from its high point of that $20 shortly before release. But yeah, no, quite interesting to follow, quite interesting to see. But I would say, as far as it goes with the general market updates, my expectation for Crown Zenith, more or less just going to continue to go down. As for Scarlet and Violet, it would not surprise me if prices slightly went down just based on the Build and Battle Stadiums and the Build and Battle displays coming out this week. But outside of that, you know, it's holding up pretty strong. And it's not like, you know, Crown Zenith, there's going to be more product that's just going to be popping up over the next couple of months unless we get hit with some random print, right? As for the sealed product, let's talk about the sealed product before we end things today. Crazy to see that the Scarlet and Violet Build and Battle, where is it in particular? Did it got taken down? Where was it? I could have sworn that it was most recently, or it must have sold out and it's not popping up. But the Build and Battle displays for Scarlet and Violet were selling for roughly around $250 last time we looked. The booster bundles themselves are selling for $22 right now, and the Build and Battle boxes are selling for $24. So that is ridiculously expensive. To be fair, there's only been one sold this month so far, and it was 2 days ago. So we're probably going to expect this to go down, but these are selling kind of stupid high. I don't anticipate that to stay for that much longer. I would like to believe they'll maybe go down to 180, 190 at minimum, because that's just crazy. But outside of that product, just going and looking at the trainer exclusives, as well as just the standards, you know, nothing really much, I should say, has been going on. Maybe I mean, this one's gone down slightly, like a couple of bucks. This one's more or less stayed the same. And then for the booster boxes, prices have slightly gone down. I mean, what are we looking at here? From 128-ish, right, down to 122.64, so 123 roughly. It's gone down $5. It's the set has been released, and most of the time it was on pre-sale prices, which is going to be slightly higher. And now that it's released, and we're not seeing a real shift, more than likely, what is my expectation? This is probably going to go sideways for a little bit and then just continue to go up, because the supply is just going to continue to dwindle, and we're just going to play the same supply and demand economic theory, which is, as the demand stays the same and the supply dwindles, then the price is going to go up, so because of scarcity. But that's just it, kind of looking at the market and just seeing what has been going on most recently. Hopefully you guys found this video to be informative. Definitely a couple of things to notice, pay attention to in deciding whether you should pick up Crown Zenith product now, whether you should pick up Scarlet and Violet. Same concept goes with Seal product. Kind of make the decisions on your own, as I'm not a financial advisor, but it will give you some insights into knowing what your best decision making is now, based on what we can kind of try and make predictions for in the future on the prices of all these products. But as far as it goes, we do weekly giveaways. All you have to do to enter is leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And lastly, if you're interested in joining the community anyway, highly recommend you check out 2 of our links down in the description below. One of which for a Patreon, which we have one spot that just recently opened up. It gives you access to wholesale pricing for Pokemon products, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, etc., etc. And then outside of that, links down in the description below for a Discord if you want to join that to be a part of a community of like-minded individuals. Highly recommend you check that out. Link is down in the description below. But that is all for today's video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Until then, I will see you all on Wednesday. Peace.